It's your boy Troy, aka T King Mode, and welcome to the RotoBaller Fantasy Sports YouTube page. Make sure you like and subscribe. Today, we're going to be doing some playoff prep. Here are 3 things that you need to win your league and win your playoffs. First piece of advice, stash your defense. If you have the bench space, I would want you to focus on stashing your defense for the playoff run. Defense production can be very unpredictable, but it can also be the difference between winning and losing a matchup. We all know how impactful a defensive touchdown, interceptions, and fumbles are, and every little point counts. If you have the bench space, try to grab a defense now so you can play them from now until the end of the playoffs, or I would suggest carrying 2 defenses and mixing and matching until the fantasy playoffs. Advice is think about your depth differently. In the playoffs, your depth pieces matter much less than the regular season. Since the playoffs, it's win or go home, there really isn't any point in carrying a wide receiver 4 on your bench, or a second quarterback, or multiple tight ends if it's a normal redraft league. Think about stashing your bench with defenses, backup running backs, etc. You want to be prepared for the worst case scenario, but think about saving those spots for positions where there's left depth on waivers, and you know how valuable backup running backs are and how valuable a very good defense is in terms of matchup. So prioritize those, especially if the starting running back gets injured, you want to make sure you have the backup. So reevaluate your bench and go from there. And my last piece of advice is prioritize backup running backs. Backup running backs are king. Fantasy football is ruthless when it comes to injuries. We have seen the impact of guys like Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, Jerome Ford all season long when they get the opportunity. In the fantasy playoffs, you want to be prepared in case your starting running back gets hurt. You don't necessarily even need to stash your own backup. You could stash someone else's backup if they roster the starter and you happen to get that backup. I would also prioritize running backs that have some type of role. Even if it's only 2 to 3 touches, that they're getting involved in the game. So I'd prioritize those running backs more than, let's say, someone who hasn't seen the field all season. So you want to make sure you got guys like that in order to prepare yourself to make sure you have insurance on your bench, just in case the worst case scenario happens. All right, y'all. Now to summarize my playoff prep. First is stash a defense. We already know how important defenses are and how they can swing a game in terms of a matchup, but they're especially important in the playoffs. Think about your depth differently. Look, again, you don't need your wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, 2 QBs, etc. Want to make sure you save those bench spots for more important positions. And lastly, prioritize your backup running backs. We all know everyone gets hurt in the NFL, especially running backs. So you want to make sure you prioritize the backup, whether it's your backup or someone else's backup, because they can be the difference between winning and losing your league. Well, that's it. That's the list, folks. Thank you so much for listening. And make sure you like and subscribe to the RotoBaller Fantasy Sports YouTube page. Make sure you follow me, T King, on all platforms. Thank you so much. I hope you have a good one.